What is up, guys, and welcome to today's video where I'll be talking about Atletico Madrid's 2016 and 17 transfer market and squad predictions. So we are going to start off with who could Atletico Madrid potentially sell, and I'm going to start off with Luciano Vieto, who is now connected with Sevilla FC. And I think he's a great player, and then he was once connected with Barcelona, but now he's connected with Sevilla for a loan, and I just think it's going to happen because Barcelona, he wouldn't really get a chance to play and trying to improve himself. And then we're going to move on to the next player, who's going to be Lucas Hernandez, the young centre-back from Atletico Madrid. And then once again, will he get the spot in Manchester City's position? I don't really think so, because Manchester City already got like plenty loads of decent centre-backs such as Otamendi, Mangala and company. And then the next player we have got is Oliver Torres. Now this one he went on loan to FC Porto in 2014 and 15 season, and now Porto is trying to buy him back for a buyout clause, which I think could happen because Oliver Torres isn't getting a lot like the game time. He's not one of the important player of Atletico Madrid, so I think they are the players that I think is going to be probably sold or loaned, however you can pronounce it. But we are going to move on to the actual squad with the two strikers, and the first one is going to be Fernando Torres. And then Torres, this guy is actually managed to get his game up recently, and then obviously he's not as good as how he used to be when he used to play for Liverpool or Atletico Madrid before he came back, but he is actually putting his game up, and I just think that he's going to be in the starting lineup for Atletico Madrid next season. And then we are going to be looking at the next player, who's going to be Griezmann. Once again, a very good player who played amazing in the Euros, scored 6 goals, which I think is fantastic for him. Unfortunately for France, they didn't manage to win the Euros, but Griezmann played very well. I expect a huge upgrade for him in FIFA 17. And then we're going to move on to the next player, who's going to be in the left mid, and it is going to be the newly signed Gaetan. Now this guy was always connected with Manchester United. Every transfer market, Gaetan was connected with Manchester United, but now he went to Atletico Madrid, and I just think he's a good player, and I just think he's going to start there. Yes, Koke sometimes plays left mid as well, but I just think Koke is going to start off in the midfield. And then on to the right midfielder position, we have got Yannick Carrasco, who played pretty decent for Belgium in the Euros. And then he's a very good player alone as well, and so I watched him play in the Euros, and then he played pretty good, so I think he's definitely going to be in the starting lineup for Atletico Madrid, no doubt about that. And then we are going to move on to the midfielders, which the first one is going to be Koke. Now Koke, I think he just played amazing for Atletico Madrid last season as well, and I say that to a lot of Atletico Madrid's players because I just think Atletico played like they did really well last season. Obviously third, but they weren't too far behind Barcelona. They managed to get into the Champions League final, which unfortunately for them have got lost to Real Madrid 2 times in a row. But we are going to move on to the next midfielder, who is going to be Gabi. Now Gabi, this guy is getting a little bit old, but I just think Atletico Madrid needs that solid, you know, how you say, veteran, like someone who can hold the midfield, who is old, who knows the team very well. I think Gabi is the one. And then we are going to move on to the defenders. First one to the left back is going to be Felipe Luis. Now this guy, as soon as he left Chelsea, he started playing really well for Atletico Madrid, and then I think Felipe Luis is a very good player. Like I watched him play for Chelsea, who wasn't very good, but as soon as he came back to Atletico, he started picking his game up and doing really well. And then we're going to move on to the right back, who is going to be Juan Fran. Definitely one of the Atletico's best performing players in last season as well. He was also included in the Euros squad for Spain, who for them unfortunately got knocked out by Italy in round of 16. And then we're going to move on to the centre backs, and the first one is going to be Jimenez. And then Jimenez, I think he's a very, you know, good young player, and I think he got a lot of good potential in the future. I think Atletico definitely needs to start this guy alongside Godin, who I think is definitely one of the world's best defenders. If he doesn't get in the Team of the Year, or also known as like FIF Pro World XI, I'll be pretty disappointed, because Godin, of course, Uruguay in the Copa America hasn't been too impressive, but at least for Atletico he played very good. And then we're going to move on to the goalkeeper position, and then we are going to have Jan Oblak, who is definitely one of the Atletico's best performing players last season as well. He was the one who led Atletico Madrid to the finals, and he makes so many good saves. He's such an important part of Atletico Madrid, and I think Atletico Madrid's defense is definitely one of the world's best for the clubs, one of the world's best defense line out there. It is really hard to get through. Look at that, Filipe Luis, Jimenez, Godin and Juan Fran, they are so solid. And then we're going to move on to the subs, and then we're going to have the first one who I think is going to stay at the sub is going to be Moya. I don't think he's going to get a lot of game time this season, because I think Atletico Madrid will try to, how you say, raise Oblak and try to make him like Courtois, one of the world's best keepers. And then we are going to move on to the next player, who I think is going to be Angel Correa, and then I believe that he was included in the Olympic squad for Argentina, which I am also excited about, because there's so many good clubs to look out for. There's Argentina, there's Brazil, there's Germany. It's gonna be very interesting. And then we're gonna move on to the next player, and it is gonna be Origi. Now, Atletico Madrid is also connected with Gamero from Sevilla, but I think it is going to be Origi who they buy. Origi, he was impressive. He played very well near the end of the season last season, and then unfortunately for him, he got injured. He was injured pretty bad by Funes Mori with that horror tackle, which he definitely deserved the red card, Funes Mori. And I think Origi would be a good signing if Atletico Madrid managed to sign him, but I don't think he's going to be in the starting lineup. And then we're going to move on to the next player, who I think is going to be Sal. Now, once again, a very nice player, and then the best thing about this player is that he can play in so many different positions, and I just think that he is so important to this squad as well. He's going to be, I think he's just very important. He can play in multiple positions, which can make very helpful, like in tactical way and stuff. And then we are going to move on to the next player, who is going to be Augusto Fernandez, who they signed from Celta Vigo last January. And then Augusto Fernandez, even though I think he's a decent player, I think Gabi should start instead of Augusto Fernandez. And then we're going to move on to the next player, who is going to be Thomas, a young player from Atletico Madrid. I mean, he's not that young, he's like 23, but I've seen him play a few times, including the Champions League final, where he got on for a little bit of time, but I think he's definitely got potential. He's like the defensive midfielder, and I think Atletico Madrid really needs to, you know, like raise him. That sounds really weird, but how you say, play him more, and then try to get the best out of this guy. And then we are going to move on to the final player, who is going to be in the squad, and I think Savic is going to be in the bench, because I said Lucas Hernandez might go to Manchester City, but he may not. If he doesn't, then it's probably going to be Lucas Hernandez who is going to be on the bench. But I think Savic is not a bad player as well. So this will be it for today's video. If you have enjoyed it, please hit the like button, subscribe, and goodbye.